For more on the difficult fight against Boko Haram and what's really needed to defeat the terror group, I sat down with Nii Akuetteh. He's the director of the African Immigrant Caucus right here in Washington.
I think we must remember that the origins of the deadline was from the elections, which were held back in April, and he won, and then he took office in May. But throughout the electoral campaign, he had said that the previous government wasn't doing a very good job of wiping out Boko Haram and that he would do it, and he had two advantages, being Muslim, like the Boko Haram, so he can call them out. And secondly, he's a general. He understands the military. But frankly, I mean, I support him. I have goodwill for him. But even during the campaign, I thought that was overblown campaign rhetoric. And there is a U.S. angle to it as well. I could clearly see that the Americans preferred him to Jonathan. And so they were attacking Jonathan for not doing a good job, because the other aspect of it is that fighting these kinds of insurgencies is terribly difficult. I mean, the history I see everywhere, the British in Northern Ireland, the British in Malaysia, the Taliban in Afghanistan, ISIS in Syria, everywhere these insurgent groups tend to be underestimated, and it takes forever to actually wipe them out. The thing is, yes, the progress in Nigeria actually, I think, is substantial, because a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, they controlled large territory. Now the territory has been taken away. Now President Jonathan, the former president, as part of trying to be re-elected, he actually tackled them late. But over a year ago, he started taking away their territory. So they've lost almost all the territory. But the thing with these groups is they don't have to have territory. They can just come and attack in, asymmetrical warfare and kill many people. So I think this is what accounts for it.
So Nii, I gotta ask you about these 200 plus Chibok girls who were abducted April of 2014. President Buhari had said he's prepared to negotiate with Boko Haram. Should he negotiate, and will these girls ever be found?
A research group in Europe came out and said that actually Boko Haram is more deadly than ISIS in the Middle East. They are the #1 deadliest such insurgency.
They've certainly killed a lot more people, that's for sure.
Exactly. So my point is we are dealing with ruthless people who don't care anything. I mean, there were instances where they said they've married some of these young women, and then when they hear the military approaching, they slit their throats. President Buhari is a pretty tough guy. I mean, he's a major general. He took over power when he was in the army, and he governed the country, and then he ran 4 times before he won. So he's very persistent, he's very tough, but even he realizes that he has no clue. He admitted that they don't know where they are. They don't know what has happened to them, so it's a way of finding information. He did put a caveat on it. He said, look, if we can find legitimate leaders of Boko Haram, because it's even hard to know if somebody will come forward and say, and prove that he's the head of Boko Haram. If we can find such a person, and if they can prove that the girls are alive, and then we will negotiate. So it's sort of a last resort. I don't know what else they can do.
Part of my conversation with Nii Akuetteh. ISIL has mounted a big assault near Ramadi less than a week after Iraqi forces recaptured the city. The fighters attacked a military compound north of Ramadi. An Iraqi officer says ISIL used 6 suicide vehicles in the assault and briefly captured the compound before Iraqi forces took back with the help of coalition airstrikes. Now, in Ramadi itself, Iraqi soldiers are helping civilians evacuate. Troops are making their final push against militants still holding out in the city. The ultimate goal here